You're watching WRKM Channel 22, number one in the region. The following WRKM broadcast is for mature audiences only. Typically we make little jokey jokes in this section, but while we were in production of this episode, we found out that the creator of Dragon Ball, Akira Toriyama, passed away, and 68 years old. That's still too young to me. We could have gotten another 20 out of him. You know, like, there's so many people who live to like 90. Like, you kind of want your heroes to do the same. And he was a hero of mine. You know, Dragon Ball was a huge part of my childhood. And I think if you're a Latin kid or a black kid in the hood, you knew Dragon Ball. You and your friends tried to become Super Saiyans and you would Kamehameha wave each other and shit. You did that stuff. And it was so part of our childhood. And it's how we learned so many lessons. I know so many guys who went to the gym because they wanted to be Goku. I know so many guys who got into Eastern philosophy because they wanted to be like Piccolo. I know so many guys who identified with Vegeta and they were able to work things out for themselves on a deeper emotional level. And for most people, they just saw the fights, the flashy graphics, and thought that was Dragon Ball. But Dragon Ball has always, to me, been a series about what's not said on an emotional level. And I thought Akira Toriyama was probably one of the best to do it. And I think he wrote one of the best arcs on grief, or was doing that, or was in the process of doing that in his life work of Dragon Ball, if I may. Vegeta's my favorite character. Comes in Dragon Ball Z. It's a red flag with people when you tell them Vegeta's your favorite character. He comes in Dragon Ball Z. He is originally a villain, kills many people, but after losing to Goku and eventually teaming up with Goku to stop Frieza to get from getting the Dragon Balls, becoming the master of all the universe, he starts to learn from Goku a little bit, and he starts to change, and he goes to Earth and starts a new life. You know what I mean? And becomes a whole new person. You know, or a better person. Let's put it that, a better person. And his backstory is tragic. You know, him and Goku are Saiyans. They're the last of the Saiyan race. And he was the son of the king of the Saiyans. And, you know, the planet was destroyed by Frieza. You know, and he loses all his people, loses his father on the same day. And there's one thing that, a common line he always throws out when he's upset. I'm the prince of all Saiyans, right? It's become memeable. Like, we all laugh about it when he gets angry. We're like, damn, dude, like, you really holding on to that title. But it's not so much the title he's holding on to. He's holding on to a childhood that could have been. Like, really think about this. If everyone else in the royal family is dead and every other Saiyan is dead, technically that prince is now the king of all Saiyans, right? And never does it dawn on him to call himself the king of all Saiyans. He still maintains being the prince of all Saiyans. Because the second he says he's the king, it's a full acknowledgement that his father's gone, he's never coming back. And the Saiyan race is gone, it's never coming back. And it's all on him to uphold it. And it's easy to say you're a prince because there's still something above you that you feel kind of dictates your movements. It's funny because I was talking to a Jewish person recently, and they were talking about the hats, and they're saying having the hat is like remembering something's above you. And I thought it was a really beautiful concept. And I think Vegeta has that, but in a metaphorical kind of sense where he is unable to be the king of the Saiyans, because once he admits that, it's admitting that grief, that loss is real. And as long as I guess in his own way, if he's always the prince, there's always a hope for something else. There's always a hope for something better to happen and something to aspire to. And over the last, I guess, series, Dragon Ball Super, you've watched this guy who is very egotistical, very hot-tempered, eventually mellow out and start to appreciate life more with his family and his friends, to the point where they're in a multi-dimensional tournament. Spoilers, but it's fucking, if you're not watching Dragon Ball, like, you're never going to watch Dragon Ball. That's how I feel about it. If you haven't watched it yet, you're probably never going to watch it. But they're fighting in a multi-dimensional tournament, and he meets Saiyans from another galaxy whose king hasn't died yet. And he doesn't ask too many questions about it. And I don't think they even reference that he looks like their king at all. So it's kind of left up in the air a little bit from what I remember. But as he meets these kids, he realizes they don't have the power him and Goku have, where they can turn Super Saiyan, which is the next level of fighting. And he goes out of his way to teach this young Saiyan he's never met before. He has no real investment in him. They're not in the same universe. But by nature of that he is a Saiyan alone, he takes it upon himself to teach him in a fight how to become Super Saiyan. And they make the promise to someday meet up again, and he'll take him to his planet of Saiyans so he could see what it looks like. That's Vegeta becoming the king without taking the title. A king is not the title. A king is the actions. That is a far deeper story than what people give Dragon Ball normally credit for, because all they see is the fights and the flashy animation. But I will argue that Akira Toriyama is one of the most brilliant writers when it comes to human emotion, and how it's so much about the things you do, not what you say. And it's why Vegeta's my favorite character. It's why I think he was writing a hell of an arc for him recently. And it's really sad. I haven't read the new mangas yet. I just usually wait for the anime because it's hard for me to keep up with a week to week or even an installment. It's hard for me to do comic books these days. But he taught me how to do storytelling. Like all of my early stories that I would write serial wise, I would call them sagas, not arcs, because he called them sagas. You know, I remember just you identified people by Dragon Ball characters. Oh, he's a Goku, he's a Vegeta. That's a real that's real Raditz ass motherfucker over there. You know, like, and now he's gone. And now, you know, he was working on new IP, and we'll never get to see his full version of how he would end Dragon Ball altogether. And there was so much about it becoming more about father and sons, and you saw this maturity coming out in it that you're like, damn, like these were all these little breadcrumbs you left behind, but you're coming back and really exploring them. And now we won't get to, you know, I know his protege is going to pick up, you know, where he left off, and I feel for his protege. It's big shoes to fill, and I'll be there watching because it's Dragon Ball, you know. But it is a damn shame that Akira, I felt, was even better than what he was before. And I won't get to see him go full evolution to what he was trying to attain. Because so much of his current writing felt transitional to the next thing. And it's a shame. But hey, appreciate the gods while we got them. Appreciate these people who dedicate themselves. This guy entered a contest, a manga contest, and was voted worst manga. And he then determined to make himself the best. And it took him 10 stories, but he eventually got Dragon Ball, which hit like gangbusters. Goku's in the fucking Macy's Day Parade. That guy never gave up. And if there is a way to honor him, it would be that we never give up. Our individual dreams, our beliefs, what keeps us going, our love for our family, our love for our friends. Be more like Goku, and every challenge is a learning opportunity. Be like Vegeta. Take the grief and trauma that's happened to you and make it into something new. Be Piccolo. Be stoic in the scariest of times, and not necessarily be unmoved, but be ready for the challenge and look at the big picture. There's so many great characters in Dragon Ball. I can go on for days and days, but typically this little preamble is a lot shorter, but it would be remiss. It would be wrong of me not to take time to give credit where credit's damn due. Someone who was a huge inspiration to me, Akira Toriyama. Thank you for everything. And if there's something beyond this, I hope you're working on some new shit, because heaven's gonna get real boring if I don't have some new animes to watch. So get on that, bro. But thank you. Take a rest for a while though, but not too long, because my afterlife's gotta be popping, and you made my life popping, so I trust you to do it. With that being said, it is Saturday night. Set talks we can't have when the sun is up. Good evening. I'm off maintain this in darkness. It's never easy when one of your heroes passes away. It's never easy when someone you admire for the things he may or may not have done passes away. And you so desperately want to memorialize them and to know they matter to you. Even if they had no idea who you were, you want them to know they affected your life. This is a man of much success, mostly inherited. This is a man whose name had great power all across the globe and led to urban legends, some proven, some not. He was a man part of a great family. And we always talk about on this show, families. How I don't want mine, and I want somebody else's. This is a family I would like to have been a part of. This man's family. Of course, I'd bring my mom along, my brother, my grandma, my aunt, uncle. I would bring them with me if I transitioned to this family. So I wouldn't abandon all of them, but there's a good portion of them I would, in a heartbeat, to be part of this family. More so than the royals when I pitched myself as a future royal. More so to the Clintons or the Obamas or the Bushes, all the families I have pitched myself for. One has always stood out to me as the one I really should have been a part of. And is with great sadness, we talk about the death of one Jacob Rothschild. Jacob Rothschild was a successful banker. His family, a long line of successful bankers, all the way back to the patriarch, Meyer Rothschild, who made a lot of his money funding the wars of princes of the time into wars with one another, playing both sides, really, which, to be fair, that's the smart way to live. Play both sides all the time. Taking a stance gets you killed, gets you in trouble. Take no stances. Live in the gray. Both sides rule. Can't go wrong. And when people know you play both sides, they don't expect much out of you other than manipulation. And to be fair, they may think they see it coming, but they don't. Once again, you play both sides and you play them well. That's the Rothschilds may or may not have done. And if they did, God bless them. Jacob Rothschild, we want to get more into that family on a separate episode and break down the conspiracy around them and such, but I wasn't so much caught up in the conspiracy aspect of Jacob's passing. No, I thought about the death of old money and how old money had dignity. It had class. They knew enough to go, hey, let's pretend to care about some shit. Let's give to charities and institutions. Carnegie Hall was one of these institutions. Andrew Carnegie could have given a fuck about the theater. But an architect has a good plan, and Andrew Carnegie's like, I'm doing I give some of this money away because I do feel bad for having it. But I will do that when I die. But while I'm living, let me do some cool shit here and there. Build me a hall. And he does. And Carnegie Hall is one of the most important venues in all of art. And you know how you get to Carnegie Hall, don't you? Practice. Little jokey joke for those at home. But old money is important. That's how all these institutions get funded. All these beautiful art institutions, your favorite artists and their galleries, these museums, they're not tax money? Hardly enough. It is the old money people who want to leave behind something, who want their name on something. A name you will not recognize, but they'll go, at least someone's going to have to read it. And someone's going to have to memorize it. Old money stays in the background, in the shadows, because they know if you put yourself out on Front Street, trouble can happen. And that's smart. Maybe that's why these old money families never call me, because I have a podcast. And clearly I do not have old money mentality to be doing this. But if only they knew that I was only doing this to eventually get money, to become old money like them. This is my parlay for my children to be super old money and continue the power struggles or power structure that they have built that I want to lead. That's the game. That's the game. I don't know why I put an accent on that, but I do. Every time I say it, that's the game. Because it is the game. But that's the key to old money. Old money were always these people who knew better. Hey, don't be flashy about what you got. Chill. Act like you've been here before. Act like you've been here before. It's such an important fucking piece of advice. A lot of these new money kids get caught up not acting like they've been there before. P. Diddy is one of these people. Diddy could have just been gallivanting around committing crimes, but had he done more old money shit, like not be, as Suge Knight would say, all in the video, dancing, had he just been doing his stuff in private and no one knew who he was, he would have been fine. They don't catch old money that way. When you're secret in the shadows, a lot of your stuff goes untalked about. Because when you're famous, why tell that story? There's a part of it to that. There is a part of that. In the Harvey Weinsteins and all of that, there is he's a famous person, so we should investigate these stories. But if it was some other rich person you never heard of, no one's investigating that story. No one gives a damn. Let me adjust my table real quick. Give myself some more space. That's what old money does. It gives themselves more space. More room to maneuver. That's literally the whole point of Oppenheimer. And he's not old money, but he knew what he wanted to be deep down. He wanted space to maneuver. We all want space to maneuver, and old money knows how to maneuver. They create spaces. Where there is no resources, they create them. New money's flash in the pan. New money just is too damn excited to spend the money and show you they have the money. And then their activism is much more surface level. They'll tweet about stuff. They'll give money to like one person or few people, but not enough to institutions, because that's where real power lies. When you give money, burp almost came, but I prevented it. But when you give money to institutions, you're protected, you're insulated. It gives you a layer of armor. How could that person do such a thing? He donated to the Art Galleria. He's been restoring classical houses of our heritage. Why would a person who cares so much about our heritage and historical artifacts How could he cause so much pain by committing crimes such as pedophilia, human trafficking, and rape? How could they do that? They easily can. But they have the armor on. People think they're great people. Sean Penn somehow pulled this off, even though he punched Madonna in the face. Sean Penn somehow managed the old money maneuver, where he's super intense and everyone respects it, but he flat out punched Madonna in the face and everyone forgets that. Now he's respected again, which is insane to me. It's fuck Sean Penn here all the time. He's also overrated as an actor. I would love to fight Sean Penn. I'm ready for it. He's old. I'm young. I may not have the muscle he has, but what I have is street smarts. And I'm also Puerto Rican, so I carry a knife. So good luck on that, my friend. Not saying I'm going to commit violence to him, but if he wants to fight, I am readily available. Maybe that's what keeps me from being old money. I'm willing to stab Sean Penn. You know? I'm supposed to hire someone to do that. This is a problem. I have to start developing. I'm getting older now. And maybe someday I'll get money by a lottery and I gotta start, being old money. That's my dream. I've always, when I watch Succession, I go, that's my dream. I want to be Logan Roy to a degree. I don't want to decimate my children's lives, but I would like to make it difficult for them. Playing them off against each other could be fun. Terrible, but fun. And I'll grow stronger from it, I think. Dreams. Dreams that have eluded me for years, that I get to have. Or if I'm lucky and more people start promoting this podcast, maybe I will. So my old money dreams hinge on you, dear listener, viewer, person on TikTok. You must save me from this wretched poverty that I'm in. Imagine if J-Lo had decided that, being a pop star, making terrible music, and releasing a terrible musical movie in which I forced my husband to be in a comedic cameo to try to save this thing and to try to convince people that I now care about social issues when I spent most of my career not caring about social issues. But I saw Beyonce do it, now I care about it. Imagine had J-Lo just like, you know what? Fuck all that. I'm going to become the landlord of Puerto Rico. Is buy up land. And you say, oh, it's for a good cause. I'm building affordable housing. No. You're building a real estate portfolio. You control those people. You control the whole island. She could have been old money rich and had some dignity and stopped trying to act. I don't know why everyone kept saying Hustles was so good. I've watched it. It's not good. She's also not funny. She's got no comedic timing, yet she's married to one of the few white boys that have got amazing comedic timing. I think very ill of Boston for the most part. I think 5 things have come out of Boston that were worthwhile. And those are secret for me. You'll find them out one day. And Ben Affleck is one of them. So I often feel like Ben Affleck is slumming it with her. He could have been old money too. He was already directing and writing. He could have been something. But now he went back to the late 2000s or early 2000s icon who still makes money like it's the early 2000s. Opportunity missed. Maybe he should have worked out with Jennifer Gardner. That's my thought. The Dunkin' commercials are pretty good though. But you can't be old money wearing a Dunkin' jacket. You can't. And there are no real... Well, there's one. If there's one person that kind of has grabbed the idea of being new money rich and old rich mentality of covering up your deep, deep greed and deep dark spirit with some charity, it's Mr. Beast. Mr. Beast is probably the greatest marriage of this. Because yes, his YouTube videos are audacious. Very arresting. Almost aggressive when you watch them. They attack your senses and your attention span very much. The cuts are they hurt my eyes. But he gets it. He gives people their sight back. after they do a dumb challenge. He did one recently where he had I think people from ages 1 to 100, and he put them all in the same warehouse, and whoever made it got all the money. Of course, they didn't say whoever made it, whoever was the last one left. It's whoever made it. Clearly, there was going to be some self-sacrifice. That probably didn't make it into the video. Certainly, someone smashed their head into a wall of boredom. Surely, the children wanted to go home, but their parents looking at them from the glass, waving, "Hey, honey, just 12 more hours. 12 more hours. You can do this. You're our only hope." Daddy's already spent the money. He has so much faith in you. He's bought a Kawasaki. We're fucked. So I need you to win this, darling. And then, of course, you have the 100-year-old people just going, "Oh, I just want to win this for my grandchildren," who will inevitably blow the money in a generation because they would have no baron there to teach them how to live with the money. It's a damn shame, but Mr. Beast knows. And when Mr. Beast goes down in history, his children, Little Beast, they, mark my words, will be the true rulers of this country and the true rulers of this planet. He will be the one that leads us into the next Illuminati. And I am excited because the content will be good. Maybe that's what it is now. Maybe the Illuminati needs content. Maybe that is the transference of old money. Old money concepts die. Newish money from the 90s becomes the new old money, where you're visible but not too visible. But you're just visible enough to be remembered and missed for nostalgic purposes. Who knows? But we should mourn it more. We should get sad when the old rich people die. Because the last of us that have any real dignity and class to rule the world with such finesse, these people who make us want to be them, though we swear we don't want to, but we do, who live these great big lives that we're fascinated by and we must read about and we must conversate about and conspiratorialize. These great people, as they leave us, the last of dignity leaves with it. Because the truth is, once they leave, who are we stuck with? People who want to bang people who look like Tigger. In Oklahoma recently, they banned furries. Let's pull that up. Well, keep forgetting this Bluetooth mouse will turn off unless you do something with it. But I don't like the neediness of this mouse. Or it's not a real mouse. So I don't have the neediness of a real mouse. I like how the New York Post has this huge fentanyl ad. Can you tell which one has a deadly amount of fentanyl in it? And it's all the same white pill. Okay. I'm not here for your riddles, New York Post. I'm here for your hysteria. Oklahoma lawmaker wants animal control to take furries from public schools and send them to the pound. Well, that's a bit much. It's a bit much. A student behaving like a silly goose in Oklahoma could soon be hauled out of class by animal control. So they want legitimate animal control to do this. I'm not against this. State Rep Justin Humphrey, what a name, introduced a bill on Tuesday that would ban furries from public schools across the state and allow animal control to round up these people who defy the proposed law. This is what I'm talking about. This is how you have to deal with the rising of the tide, as Bill the Butcher once said. Furries are fucking weird, okay? And you want to be a furry? Here's animal control. I'm kind of into this a little bit as long as this bill doesn't take a turn, I'm into it. Students will purport to be an imaginary animal or animal species or engage in whoa, that's a big word for a Latino. Anthropomorphic. Don't look at me like that, Bobby. You look at the word. Can you say it? Oh, you can't. Okay, just making sure. Anthropomorphic behavior, commonly referred to as furries, at school shall not be allowed to participate in the school curriculum or activities. House Bill 3084 states the legislation would require parents or guardians to pick up their child from school. Otherwise, animal control services shall be contacted to remove the student. The bill states if passed, the law would take effect in November. The Republican lawmaker who previously proposed creating a Bigfoot hunting season in the state, we're going to check that out in a second, did not expand on the definition of furry-esque behavior or what kind of animalistic mannerisms or dress would get a kid kicked out of the classroom. Okay, this is the problem. It's wide open. So like me and my friends, we used to meow at each other to annoy each other, like meow, just fuck around. Like, would that make me a furry if I went meow? You know, just fucking with a friend while he's trying to like focus in class. You know, like, or what if, you know, we're playing, you know, like King of Fighters or some shit, or like some fighting game, and we're all pretending to be different mythological creatures or some shit. Does that count as being a furry? Yeah, you know, like fucking Killer Instinct. You know, we used to fucking fight in the playgrounds, our favorite Killer Instinct characters. You didn't do that? Well, fuck you too, Bobby. Although the bill itself doesn't include a goal or reasoning for its existence, furries is enough existence for this bill. Is enough for this bill. Humphrey previously said it would deter children from identifying as animals. Well, it is fucking bizarre. People are going to call me insane for running this bill, but hell, I'd say they're insane. I like that. Fighting crazy with crazy. Okay? You want to be a furry animal? I'm going to treat you like a furry animal and call animal control. Now, a hunting season, we all read earlier. He's interested in a Bigfoot hunting season, which means he already wants to hunt imaginary creatures. This is the next step. He's like, okay, maybe shooting an imaginary creature is a lot. Maybe some of you weren't ready for that one. But what if we do a humane thing, animal control gets them, we take them somewhere and euthanize them. That's a lot better than the hunting, isn't it? The hunting has all this fear and running and all this other stuff attached to it. People, you know, scared for their lives, and you know, it's inhumane, it's barbaric. But if animal control gets them and euthanizes them, it's a bit more pleasant, I would think. You have those Canadian suicide pods. We get a couple of those on loan, and we take out the furries. So besides the very esoteric nature of what constitutes a furry under this law, I'm kind of in. If you got an animal coming to a school, how about we get them vaccinated? How about we get them neutered? How about we send them to the pound? This guy, listen. He's taking it to its most logical conclusion. The Republicans seemingly pointed to bogus rumor that a Michigan school district was providing a litter box for students who identified as furries. I heard this same rumor, and we made fun of it on this show. Apparently, that story was debunked. No one was pooping in litter boxes. But then again, I did hear a similar story from a friend of mine in the tech industry that at a tech company that's very well known, someone was identifying as a cat pooping in a litter box. That is what I heard. I will leave it at that. I don't want to see some kid go into the bathroom in a litter box. The kid in the kitty litter. So the kitties seem to be the big problem. He doesn't like the cat ones. Those people up there. Wait. Those people up there have up there. You mean up there? Those people up there have lost their mind letting these people pretend to be animals in the classroom. He continued his rant about a fake story. Damn. Give it to the New York Post, okay? This is a GOP guy, clearly. And they're actually kind of criticizing him for going off about a fake story. So the New York Post is right, what, twice a day? Give them that. If they're going to be animals, let's send them to the pound. Let's send them home. How do you teach a cat math? It's a good question. That's a good question. That's not a bad question. If you're someone who identifies as a cat, Do you understand anything that's happening in class? Because cats don't speak English. Not that I know of. Or, I mean, maybe the movie Cats. They're mutant cats in the future. I don't know. Is it the plot of Cats? No? Okay. Then why is it? I don't even want to know. There's an estimated 250,000 people in the U.S. who identify as furries, a subculture whose members enjoy dressing up as cartoonish animals, sometimes as a sexual fetish, most of the time, but more often as fun escape. Here's the thing, right? They get far too much into these characters, these furries. Like, I've seen some furries at some conventions, and they get really into character. And all I can be reminded of was this one kid I went to high school with. Actually, no, it wasn't even high school. I think it was junior high, actually. Yeah, it was junior high. I remember me and my homie Darnell making fun of this kid privately because we were definitely afraid he was going to be a school shooter at some point. But he would have like these hentai pictures in his notebook, his binder. And they were all like weird anime characters. Sometimes more animalistic, anthropomorphic. A word we kind of learned today that I'm still not pronouncing right. Those kind of things. And he would be like, oh, dude, I was on Newgrounds last night. And like, I saw this game where I could pretend to be a unicorn and bang other unicorns. It was so cool. You know, like, it's not. Like, that's gross. That's not interesting to all of us who were interested in regular women. And at least one of us, now in hindsight, realizing was into other boys. But he didn't tell us then, but we all kind of knew. It was kind of one of those we all know. Just please just come out and say it so we can just treat you well and give you the support you need. We were very progressive, me and my homies. We just loved our homies. That's just what it was. One homie probably loved us more than the other ones, but we just wanted to be happy. Funny thing is, an ex-girlfriend of mine saw him years later, and he was living out and proud. So maybe it wasn't for us to know. But I do feel a little bad that he never told us. Wish I could hug him now. But I wouldn't hug him if he was a fucking furry. Because those people read like Teletubby fanfiction porn or My Little Pony shit. And that shit is straight pedo. I don't give a fuck. If you're thinking about child cartoons banging, that's pedo. If you want to dress up as a child's cartoon character and bang other people, it's kind of pedo. It's kind of pedo. And I'm not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. I think every other gender kink in the world would all agree the biggest threat to all of this is the furries. Because they're making it look bad for everyone else, all right? The transgender community has a hard enough time trying to explain to people what identifying as a man who's biologically a woman or a biological man, they have a hard time doing that and explaining that to people. These furries are just mucking it up now. And we don't need that right now. Every movement has its time. Civil rights, black people had their time. Sometime in the 70s, Hispanics kind of had a time. Then Asians kind of did something in the 90s a little bit. But then blacks took back the 90s and started doing really cool shows like A Living Color and Fresh Prince. So it was a mixture of things going on. Gay marriage in the early 2000s, big thing. The gay movement happened. Now we're in the midst of the transgender movement. Movements happen, and it's kind of nice to live, 36 years and see how it all comes about, how everyone gets their moment. But we can't let the furries have a moment because that's fucking weird. And I'm not trying to kink shame. I do not normally kink shame, but I'll kink shame the furries. Because there is something a bit off about it. Why is being human not enough? Why must you also be able to communicate with the wolves telepathically somehow? Because that's what some of them say. They say they identify as a creature they identify as because they feel the thoughts of the fellow creature? And is it understanding? That's weird. That's weird. This goes back to our tulpa discussion. People who think they have different tulpas living inside them. What they really have is schizophrenia, but having a tulpa sounds cooler. Because to be fair, if your life sucks, imagine a new one. We've always said that. And maybe this is these people's way of imagining a new one. Hey, life as a human sucks, but it'd be dope if I was like a velociraptor. And it could be cool to be a velociraptor. But you would also have to have velociraptor brain. And they weren't able to watch Netflix. They weren't able to watch Shogun on Hulu. This is not a commercial for that show. That show would never promote on this program, but they should. And I would like to interview one of the stars. They won't come on this show because maybe they're into furries. I don't know. Furries does feel like a Japanese thing, to be fair. They're the ones that gave us cosplay. God bless them. I would argue that Japanese may be the most influential culture of the 2000s. Yeah, that's a thing for another episode. I really want to do, but I have a feeling at this moment in time, it dropped into my spirit. Oh God, I hate I said that because a lot of religious people say that God drops into his spirit, but this is just me having a thought. But it does feel really close to my heart. But the Japanese are more than likely the most influential people in the 21st century. If you look at their aesthetics, how they view the future, how they change the way we animate things. We'll get to it one day. Even our movies, even if you look at Creed 3 has a very anime influence. So do the Marvel movies too. But did they give us the furries? I don't know. But if they did, then we should investigate them the way we should be investigating China for COVID. Because the furries are a virus. And we should send these furries to an island. We should go full X-Men on this shit. Okay? Let's go full fucking X-Men. Alright? Let's take it there. Let's go and put him on, what was it, Genosha? Back in the day. Let's put him there. And put him in their suits. It's warm weather. Now see if you're an animal. Now see if you're a lion. It's really hot in that costume. You sure you want to identify as a deer? In the middle of this equator heat? I don't think you do. Something tells me you're going to be human real quick. When animal control picks up these weirdos, I'm sure they'll be human really quickly. But once again, if we are to take this animal identity to the logical conclusion, you can't have wild animals walking around anywhere, and you gotta euthanize them. 250,000 people are half human, half animal breeds now, apparently. Gotta get rid of them. They're a danger to society. What if they actually start to inhabit the traits of these animals and become super soldiers? We can't have that. Can't have that. Gotta get rid of them. Now, I'm not asking for a genocide of furries. I'm just asking for a reprogramming of the furries. Everything else is on the table still for me in terms of kinks and all that. I have everything else still. Well, the pee and poop people are weird too, but another time. But everything else is on the table still. I will not kink shame most kinks, but the furries and the pee and poop people. Not a fan of that. Not a fan of that. God bless you, Oklahoma. God bless you. What was his name? I know his last name was Humphrey. God bless you, Justin Humphrey, for taking a stand against these weird creatures of the night that will eventually hunt us down and take us down. But hold on, we gotta look into this Bigfoot thing. Because he had another law. Proposed creating a Bigfoot hunting season. Okay, here we go. I hate how most of these websites don't know how to have ads correctly. Come on, there we go. Oklahoma Rep Justin Humphrey proposes Bigfoot hunting season. This was when? 2021. So okay, he's been dropping the hits. Not they're far and in between. He's been dropping the hits. A Midwestern lawmaker is hoping Sasquatch can bring in some fast cash. Ooh, this is a scheme. I love it already. Oklahoma Representative Justin Humphrey has introduced a bill that would create a Bigfoot hunting season in the state. Oklahoma State Legislature believes hunters would be willing to pay a state license to hunt the mythical beast. This is smart. Nope. Oh no. Justin Humphrey may be the smartest politician in the fucking game right now. Humphrey's district includes the heavily forested Comanche Mountains, where a Bigfoot festival is held every year. Now, that could make a problem if you put hunting season around there, because what if people dress up as Bigfoot and you accidentally shoot them? That could be a problem for the state. But don't dress as fucking Bigfoot, you fucking weird furry. Establishing an actual hunting season and issuing licenses where people who want to hunt Bigfoot will draw more people to already a beautiful part of the state, Justin Humphrey said. Is there more into this law? A license would only allow the trapping and releasing of the fictitious hairy ape-like beast, not its killing. That's a problem. You think Bigfoot's gonna be taken alive? You think Bigfoot's gonna allow himself to be taken alive? No. He's gonna go for it, bro. And tranq darts are really expensive. People think they're cheaper than bullets. They're not. Tranq darts are very, very expensive. Now, I think you can get just as much out of a dead Bigfoot as you would a live Bigfoot, but you know, that's just me. I just don't like creatures roaming into the night that are mysterious, that I can identify. Human-shaped creatures. Furry ones. The polls. I hate when they call a politician, they call them the poll. Like, stupid. The poll's proposal caught Oklahoma Department of Wildlife Conservation spokesman Micah Holmes. When a dude's named Micah, he's going to be a buzzkill. Micah Holmes off guard. He told television station Coco, K-O-C-O, that the agency doesn't actually, this is a legit government thing, doesn't recognize Bigfoot, only uses science-driven research in its wildlife management decision. Unfortunately, for anyone interested in hunting Bigfoot in Oklahoma, the creature was last spotted 2,000 miles away in Washington State. Well, that's a big far away. But anytime someone's named Micah, he's going to be a buzzkill. He's going to have a guitar. And he's going to be the most annoying, polite fucker you've ever met. Who deep down secretly date rapes. That's a true fact. There are no good Micahs. Really think about it. Really think about any Micah you ever met. There was a Micah in my friend group who was always scheming on the drunk chicks. And we had to watch out for him. Like, hey, what are you doing? But that has become my standard for Micahs. I don't think they're good people. So a Micah's going to be a buzzkill. This particular Micah doesn't want us hunting Bigfoot because he doesn't acknowledge that he's real. I have a problem with that. How do you know he's not real? Have you seen him? Have you gone to the woods and checked every square inch? You haven't. So he's could be real. And he's also getting away with a good scheme. This is a great scheme for the state. Let the state make money off morons. The government does that all the time. Do not get in the way of what government does. I don't understand it. I don't understand Micah's inability to see game. Justin Humphreys is the best politician in the game right now because he realizes, listen, Oklahoma needs to make money. Tourism is how you do it. What if we just let them hunt Bigfoot? And if they don't find him, who gives a shit? They paid anyway. It's God damn it. You know, if New York did this with the rats, right? Like if we put out a license out there to, hey, hunt rats and you get like $5 per rat, do you know how much money we would generate off the license alone? Maybe some guy with a flute would show up and help us get rid of these things. A Pied Piper, if you will, not of R&B because he's in jail right now for being a Pied Piper of children, but a Pied Piper, of some kind could be here and help us get rid of these rats. But I bet you Micah wouldn't approve of that either, because buzzkill. Justin Humphries is a genius. He's a genius. Now, like I said earlier, maybe if it's during the Bigfoot festival, it could cause a problem because fans of Bigfoot do just as Bigfoot, and maybe you might accidentally kill one. But I mean, that's the love of the game, baby. If you identify as Bigfoot, Bigfoot problems are going to happen to you. That's the way I look at it. God damn, he's good. I'm really impressed by this dude, Justin Humphries. He picked 2 laws, and we're not even in the same party, mind you. I'm a liberal guy, but he's fucking. This is a conservative I understand. This is a conservative I understand. I get it. He's afraid of people in costumes too. I've always been afraid of people in costumes. I'm afraid of clowns too. So maybe that has a lot to do with it. But yeah, Oklahoma's doing God's work. They're going to put the furries in animal control. God bless them. He's going to keep trying to get people to hunt fake Bigfoot for money. God bless him. What's the hat trick? What's the third thing he's going to come up with? This guy's got, right now, to me, he's got one of the best political runs in the history of political runs. Because these 2 laws alone challenge the quo. Challenge the quo. You identify as an animal, let's take it all the way. Animal control. You want to hunt Bigfoot? Here's a license. Like, fucking goddamn it. How do you top that? Where do you go from there? He went Bigfoot, furries. What's going to be number 3? I don't know. I don't know. But whatever it is, we'll be watching. And I don't know if he's running for election again, but if he is, we endorse him. I don't know what his other I don't know if he should. I don't know what his other policies are. But we endorse kind of 2 things he's ever done. Everything else we're about. We're not as committal. But the 2 things we like. So Justin Humphries, God bless you. And God bless your service to the American people. And I hope you pass that Bigfoot law. And it causes as much destruction as I could possibly imagine. But you get paid. Because, that's what it's all about. It's all about the dollars. But maybe there is hope for the white trash in this country. Maybe they have developed a sense of old money mentality, unlike these furries. We go to Overland Park, Kentucky, for our next story. Let's make sure the USB sound works. Hold on. Yeah, because sometimes it'll do it, sometimes it won't. So you have to force it. Oh, there it is. Here we go.
To the Kansas side, where a Johnson County couple has now been charged with fraudulently collecting more than $215,000 in retirement benefits. This as their dad's body remained in their Overland Park home for 6 years. It's a Fox 4 follow-up. We first told you about this story about 10 months ago. According to authorities, Mike Carroll's pacemaker shows he died in 2016. He was 81. Overland Park police didn't discover his body until 2022 after his son-in-law, Kirk Ritter, called police to report his death. Prosecutors say that at that point, again, he had died in 2016. His daughter Lynn and her husband Kirk continued depositing and spending from Carroll's bank account even while his body became mummified on a bed in the home he owned. Family members told the Kansas City Star that the Ritters would repeatedly give them the excuses about why Carroll could never take a phone call or a visit, while leading them to believe that Carroll was actually still alive. That couple is scheduled to appear in federal court to face several charges Friday of next week.
Well, you see, granted. Wait, was it her husband that called the guy? Let's pull that back up. It was Kirk. It was Lynn and Kirk, right? Let's go back and find out who called.
Where a Johnson County couple has now been charged with fraudulently collecting more than $215,000 in retirement benefits. This is their dad's body remained in their Overland Park home for 6 years. It's a Fox 4 follow-up. We first told you about this story about 10 months ago. According to authorities, Mike Carroll's pacemaker shows he died in 2016. He was 81. Overland Park police didn't discover his body until 2022 after his son-in-law, Kirk Ritter, called police to report his death. Prosecutors say that at that point...
Oh, so Kirk and Lynn were doing a scam together, but I guess Kirk, being the son-in-law, started to feel bad. That, oh no, we've been doing this for so long. He's been dead for so long, and we've just been collecting his retirement. He probably thought, all right, we'll do it for a few weeks. You know, we'll collect a few things, we'll pay a few bills off. But Lynn was probably like, no. We have to keep it going. Because she caught the high. Or maybe it was the smell of the dead body that infected her brain, and she got that kind of high. And she's like, oh no, my dad's dead, and he owes me. And I'm going to get every penny out of him I can. So he can never answer the phone. He can never be seen. He's always laying down. He's always tired. And we're going to collect that retirement money. But what gets me is this. If you can tell the pacemaker went out in 2016, why isn't there some kind of transmitter in there? You already got that thing helping my heart. Put a transmitter in there. Or maybe I'm just using my knowledge of the movie Spawn, where like in that movie, I forgot what his name was. The bad guy put like a pacemaker in his heart, so if Spawn killed him, it would unleash a virus all across the world. Like maybe I'm using pseudoscience here, but shouldn't the pacemaker have alerted someone? Life alert didn't work? Some bullshit. But listen, Lynn and Kirk were just trying to do the right thing. They were trying to inherit money they were never going to get originally, or double their inheritance. Collect the money from retirement, then he dies, cash in the insurance. Now you're living the inheritance dream. Because now you have money to be rich and old money rich. It was passed down to you. Maybe that's what they were preparing. Lynn was preparing for. She probably had the whole idea in her mind going, I just got to collect enough money so I can live comfortably. And who knows how good of a father this man was. I don't want to assume he was such a great guy. What happened to him in the end was kind of terrible. But what if he was an asshole? We don't know that. I don't know all the facts of this case. I'm simply commenting on a minute 14 video. Most people would have just watched 30 seconds and put a video out. I watched the whole minute and 14. So I'm far more well-researched on the topic than they are. But they were just trying to figure out the dream. Hey, let's take this money. He's gone. He's dead. Let's take this money and elevate. Let's use him as the bones in which our empire is built. All empires are built on dead bodies. This one just happened to be her dad's. Now, I would never do that to my mom. I would never do that to my mom. Ever. Not my mom. I would never. Not my mom. I want to make that clear. My mom, I would never keep dead in a room so I can collect her retirement. I would never do that to my mom. Ever. She's very important to me, and I love her very dearly. That would not be the kind of afterlife I'd want her to have. So I would not do that to her. Now my dad, I don't know. I think he would have respected my dad. I think my dad would go, bravo, bravo. Look at him. Starting a business off my dead flesh. And I think my dad would be into it. I think my dad would be proud of me. That's the kind of relationship me and my dad have. We're little schemers. We're little scams. You see where I get it from. He'd probably be like, man, fucking use the fucking body. I don't give a fuck. Get what you can. He would tell me it's not worth much. I disagree. There might be some organs that are working in that body. I could use some of those. Maybe one for me. Then sell them out to everyone else. Sell his body to science. Now, I don't think he has a retirement plan quite like this one. I don't know. I haven't really asked him about his retirement plans. I should start asking him about his retirement plans in case I find myself in a similar situation. I don't know. I don't want to commit to not mummifying his body and technically keeping him alive for years to get. I don't want to commit to that. And I love my dad. I love my father. I want that to be clear. I love Raphael Sr. very much. It's a good man to me now, but he's a good man, damn it. And I would feel conflicted about mummifying his body a tad. But it's not a bad scam they're doing. And I like it. Because it's not hurting anybody now, is it? You know, just... You're cashing your chips, man, little by little. You know, I have a life insurance policy on me for my job. So to be fair, I have a value. If I'm not mistaken, I'm not going to say it publicly. It's a good chunk of change. Someone might want to. But little do they know, I haven't named a beneficiary yet. So who knows who gets it until maybe my company gets it. And they tell my family, like, well, he didn't sign the paper because he was too lazy to ever sign it. So you get no money. And it's very unfortunate. But shout out to my job for doing that. Getting me a life insurance policy. I probably never had one on my own. Probably will never have one. My kids will benefit nothing from my death. They will definitely have all the saved files of this podcast, though. So maybe they can sell this IP to somebody who needs the content. Retro content. Maybe. People watch Nick at Night. People watch old Johnny Carson. Maybe they want to watch a podcast from the mid-2020s about how crazy things were. I don't know. Now, would I be against my children doing this to me? I don't know. How bad do they need the money? How much am I worth? You always want to leave something behind. This is the way to do it. But I would not do this to my mom. Not my mom. My dad, 70-30 wouldn't. 60-40 wouldn't. All right, we're at 50-50 now. I don't know. I don't know. This is tough. And it's not that I love him any less. I just feel like as a man, he can take it. My mom's my mom. She birthed me. I can't ask for more. But him. $60-40, I'm doing it. 60-40, I'm doing it. But it's going to be a very, very debatable 40%. Because it's wrong. It's wrong, kind of. I'm getting like really itchy just thinking about it. It's like when you're on the precipice of realizing what kind of person you are and you go, oh my God, I am that person. I am this couple. But am I not entitled to benefit from death? Like, come on. Everyone else seems to. War profiteers, rich families, come on. Will someone give me something? Will someone croak so I can get some goddamn money? Preferably not my parents. Not my parents, not my grandparents. Preferably somebody, some ancient cousin I didn't know I had. die and leave me something. That is bad juju. I shouldn't be wishing death, but I kind of, well, hold on. Maybe my grandmothers. I would spare them from that. But I don't have, I got one grandfather, and I don't think he's got much. So I can't do this to him. And to be fair, someone will probably beat me to it. There's a lot of us in that family. Someone will beat me to it. I don't know. But not my mom, not my dad, not my grandma, not both my grandmas. I love my grandmas. Love my mom. Definitely doing it to my dad. Now, 70-30 doing it to my dad. I just can't help it. I just can't. Just can't. Well, we've all learned some valuable lessons today. I think that would be a good place to end it. I will see you again soon. My work hours have shifted a bit, so we will see what the release schedule will look like soon. But I'm gonna get out of here and go see my dad and just see how he's doing. See how his health's holding up. What his plans are for his later years. And, you know, just be a good son. Be a good son. But then again, I think we all know how this one is going to end. But I guarantee you he will.